Before empires carved their names into stone, before domes pierced the sky, there was only the strait, and the golden light dancing upon it. In the 7th century before Christ, Greek sailors from Megara followed an oracle's riddle to this promontory between two worlds. They named their settlement Byzantium, after their leader Byzas, a small Greek colony perched where Europe meets Asia. For centuries, Byzantium lived between empires, Greek, Persian, Macedonian, always surviving, always watching ships pass through its golden waters. Then Rome came. In 196 AD, Emperor Septimius Severus burned Byzantium to the ground, then rebuilt it grander. Severus built a hippodrome for chariot races. He expanded the walls. Byzantium became a proper Roman city at last. But this was still just a provincial town. The empire's heart beat in Rome. That was about to change forever. In 324 AD, after a prophetic dream, Emperor Constantine stood on these hills and saw not what was, but what would be. On May 11th, 330 AD, Constantine dedicated his city. He called it Nova Roma, New Rome. The world called it Constantinople. Constantine built on 7 hills, mirroring Rome. He raised forums, palaces, and a great church where emperors would be crowned. This would be a Christian Rome. Constantine, the first emperor to embrace the cross, planted churches where temples once stood. The hippodrome became the empire's beating heart. Chariot races drew 200,000 screaming citizens beneath the emperor's gaze. In 395, Rome split forever. The west crumbled. The east, anchored by Constantinople, would endure 1,000 years more. To protect their treasure, the Byzantines built the greatest walls the ancient world had ever seen. They called them unbreakable. Behind these walls, a civilization flourished. Greek philosophy, Roman law, Christian faith, all merged into something new, the Byzantine world. But the city's greatest glory was yet to come. In 527, a new emperor ascended, a man who dreamed of nothing less than restoring Rome's full glory. January 532. The Nika riots. Constantinople tore itself apart. 30,000 dead, half the city in flames. Empress Theodora refused to flee. Purple makes a fine shroud, she declared. Justinian stayed, crushed the rebellion, then began to rebuild. Justinian summoned 2 geniuses, Anthemius of Tralles and Isidore of Miletus, and gave them an impossible task: surpass Solomon's temple. 10,000 workers labored for 5 years. Marble came from across the empire. On December 27th, 537, the dome was complete. Justinian entered his finished church and whispered, "Solomon, I have surpassed thee." No one who saw it disagreed. For 1,000 years, this would be the largest enclosed space on Earth, a dome that seemed suspended from heaven itself. The Arabs came twice, 674 and 717, with massive fleets. Both times, the walls held. Constantinople could not be taken. For 7 centuries, Constantinople was the world's greatest city. While Europe descended into the Dark Ages, this was the beacon that kept classical civilization alive. April 1204, Crusaders meant for Jerusalem turned instead on Constantinople, fellow Christians attacking the greatest Christian city. For 3 days, the Crusaders looted. They melted bronze statues, stole sacred relics, and shattered what they couldn't carry. The Byzantines reclaimed their city in 1261, but the damage was done. Constantinople never recovered its former glory. A new power rose in the east, the Ottoman Turks. They conquered Byzantine lands one by one, circling ever closer. By 1453, Constantinople was a ghost of itself. 40,000 people in a city built for 500,000. On April 6, 1453, a 21-year-old sultan named Mehmed arrived with 80,000 soldiers and the largest cannons ever built. For 53 days, the cannons thundered. Emperor Constantine XI led 7,000 defenders against impossible odds. They knew the end. May 29, 1453, the walls fell. Constantine XI died fighting, his body never found. The Roman Empire, after 1,500 years, was over. Mehmed the Conqueror rode to Hagia Sophia. He threw a handful of dirt on his turban, a gesture of humility before God. He ordered Hagia Sophia preserved but transformed, Christian mosaics covered with plaster, minarets rising beside the ancient dome. Mehmed found the dying city and brought it back to life. He moved the Ottoman capital here and renamed it Istanbul. In 1459, he began Topkapi Palace, not a European fortress, but an Ottoman garden paradise overlooking the Bosphorus. To revive commerce, Mehmed built the Grand Bazaar, two great stone bedistans that became the world's largest covered market. Mehmed welcomed all faiths. Greeks, Armenians, Jews expelled from Spain, all found refuge in his cosmopolitan capital. When Mehmed died in 1481, he left behind a capital worthy of an empire that stretched across 3 continents. But his descendants would build something even greater. Under Suleiman the Magnificent, Istanbul would become the most splendid city on earth. Suleiman the Magnificent ruled the largest empire on earth, from Hungary to Yemen, from Algeria to Azerbaijan. To build his vision, Suleiman found Mimar Sinan, a former military engineer who would become history's most prolific architect. In 1557, Sinan completed his masterpiece, the Suleymaniye Mosque, built on the highest hill, dominating the Golden Horn. Sinan studied Hagia Sophia, learned its secrets, and created something that rivaled Justinian's wonder in Ottoman style. By 1700, Istanbul's skyline had transformed, a forest of domes and minarets replacing the Byzantine profile forever. The Blue Mosque rose in 1616, named for 20,000 Iznik tiles in shades of sea and sky. 700,000 people now called Istanbul home. It was the largest city in Europe, and the most magnificent. October 1923, the Ottoman Empire dissolved. The Turkish Republic was born, and the capital moved to Ankara. The city emptied. From over 1 million at its Ottoman peak, Istanbul fell to just 700,000. Then the tide reversed. Starting in the 1950s, Turks from Anatolia streamed in by the millions. In 1973, the Bosphorus Bridge connected Europe and Asia for the first time. You could drive between continents. Today, 16 million people call Istanbul home. It's the largest city in Europe, bigger than London, Paris, or Berlin. The old monuments survive. Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, the Theodosian walls, witnesses to 27 centuries of human dreams. 3 names, 3 empires, 1 city. Byzantium, Constantinople, Istanbul, where Europe meets Asia, where past meets present, where history never ends.